are you running? Why are you running?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Hello, my name is Esse Akwawa. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Webek Studios, and welcome to my episode on Founder Stories Tag. So Webek Studios started with myself and Edith talking about setting up something together because we had previously worked in an establishment together, and I also wanted to set up my company. She was her company, and we figured, we have a good working relationship. Why not set up something together? And then, funny enough, Bizo spoke to us and called us and said, "Guys, how far? Let's do something together." And before you know it, Bizo brought Wale and Kayode, and we thought it was just going to be like a project thing before, because we worked on the project together, all five of us. But after the project, everyone was like changing and like, "Guys, we have to set up something." We have to be like, well, myself and Edith may do something together before, but I mean, this makes sense. It's better this way if we all collaborate together. And that was how we set up Webek Studios. And now the name Webek, when it was time to get a name, we're like, what name do we get? And then I just said, why don't you just use all our names, the first letters of our names. So Webek is Wale, Esse, Bizo, Edith, and Kayode. So that's Webek. So I've always known I was going to be a storyteller, but I didn't know from what perspective I was going to tell stories. When I was little, I knew that I loved watching the news with my dad. I loved listening to newscasters. So I thought for some reason that I was going to be a newscaster. In fact, my dad thought I was going to be a newscaster. When I went to uni, I just studied journalism because I just thought, I know so much about journalism already. I don't know. I was just self-taught, And while in uni, I published a magazine. I worked with NTA 10 on some youth program as a presenter. I just knew that storytelling was calling me. And after I graduated uni, I went on to work in the bank, but I wasn't happy about it. That wasn't my dream. But eventually, storytelling found me. I went on to work at AVF, one of the foremost production companies in Lagos, Nigeria. And from then on, it was just non-stop for me. And I knew that I was born to do this. And this will be it's over a decade I've started telling stories, and it's been super rewarding. It's not always been rosy days. It's not always been great days, but it's been rewarding because I'm doing what I love to do. So I go to bed every day feeling fulfilled. And that's what always reminds me that storytelling is my calling. So one of the biggest challenges, I would say, I wouldn't even say lesson, one of the biggest challenges of being a creative business in Nigeria is the access to funding. And I know a lot of people talk about funding, but I think it's so key because we are used to, raising funds through family and friends in Nigeria to create content, to make films, to do stuff in the creative industry. But I don't think that's sustainable. And we've gotten to a point where we realize that it is not sustainable. We need external funding. We need investors to believe in the industry and throw in some funds to help us create properly, because we can't be creatives and still buzzing our heads about trying to look for money. It kind of it disrupts the creativity in you, so most of us, we want to just create, but when you don't have access to this funding, it's a burden on you. You get it? So if we have access to funding, and then not just funding, we now have access to adequate distribution channels for the content we create, I feel like the industry would thrive more than it's thriving right now. If you think it's thriving right now, then you don't even know how much we can thrive if we have these things set in place for us. And I think that's if you ask any filmmaker or any business owner in the creative industry, when it comes to film and television, this will be the major things they will mention as some of the blockheads, some of the bottlenecks we have, in the industry. And I just feel like it's something that we can definitely, the people listening and our guys at the top can definitely look into and figure it out for us, basically. When I am developing content, I'm always excited. So some people say it's when they're shooting, because I direct and I produce, right? But I'm also a storyteller, so I develop stories and I consult stories. I consult for people in terms of the story development. So the part that gives me that goosebump when I'm in the writer's room or I'm in a development session and the ideas are pouring in, I'm just like charged. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Because that's the only time for me where I see us being creatives and not thinking of other things or trying to see how this film would sell or whatever. At that point, we are just being creatives and churning out ideas, and it's super beautiful. For me, that's the one that gives me goosebumps, development. So telling African stories to resonate globally simply means telling stories that wouldn't just be accepted by Africans or Africans in the diaspora, but the world in general. Stories that would connect to a Russian, a Korean, a Japanese, and they would understand where you're coming from. We watch K-drama, we don't speak the language, but we enjoy K-drama because their stories are relatable. We enjoy Indian movies. Their stories are relatable. So we need to start making stories that would not only be appealing to Africans or Nigerians, but stories that when someone outside of the African race watches it, they will get it and they will enjoy it because they understand where we're coming from. So I think those are the kind of stories that we term as stories that will resonate globally, basically, and appeal locally as well. So when people ask me how is running the studio like for you, I keep saying stuff like, I didn't just start running the studio 5 months ago because that was when Webek Studio was launched. I was already running the studio since I was at Accelerate Studios, and that kind of prepared me for where I am today. Because what I did with Accelerate Studios was sort of like taking it as my own business, as my own company. I owned it, the strategy, the operation, every aspect of it. And it kind of prepared me for where I am today. So it's easy for me now because I took years to learn and to understand how that works, So it's been great. I have a collaborative team. I have a team who is very cooperative as well, and they're independent. Nobody is trying to micromanage anybody. We all know what to do. Everybody knows what their job descriptions are. And it just makes us, very efficient. So managing a studio or being a CEO of a company for me has been blissful. It's been beautiful. And that's because I made it so. Yes, you can actually make it blissful and not have headache. It depends on the kind of team you hire and how you work with people who are around you, basically. So yeah, it's been great. Basically, the kind of partnerships we are actively looking for are international partnerships. And I know a lot of people say, want international partnerships, international collaborations. No, it's not in that context. For us, it's because we want to be able to tell stories that resonate globally. And we can't do that with us alone telling the stories, right? We have to find a way to collaborate with an international studio. So by the time we come together and we bring our expertise from lived experiences, they bring their expertise from distribution, from, all the links they have with streaming platforms, and we can collaborate efficiently. Because like I said earlier, our issues here is funding and distribution. So if we can have a partner on the international side that can help us solve one aspect of it, it then helps us to create something that can be globally accepted. So what would help us, what would make sense for us is get an international partner that is interested in collaboration with an African and Nigerian company to take our story to the world and make sure it is consumed and it is resonated with globally, basically. So yeah, that's why we need an international partnership, and we think it's important to have one. So like I said, we're 5 months old, and we just launched an exciting show that I really love. It's not a film, it's just a feel-good content. It's called The Culture League. I am super proud of that content because I didn't even think it would happen so soon, because we started talking about it in December last year, and we shot in June 2025. This was like barely 6 months after we came up with the idea. So everything happened the way it happened, and it just kind of made me so confident that we can actually do this. This is actually achievable. So I'm super proud of The Culture League right now. I think it's an amazing show, and I'm also proud of what we're doing with YouTube. So we have a YouTube platform called Nolly Film Media. Is where Webek Studios houses YouTube films and we insane our YouTube audience. It's not called Webek Studios, it's called Nolly Film Media because we want to be able to distinguish both. You get it? But I'm super proud of Nolly Film Media of the strides we've gotten. You know, in less than 3 months, we've gotten our 1.4 million views on one of our films. We got monetized, it's been good. So I'm so proud of my team and, you know, and all the things we've achieved in a short period of time. And this kind of like makes me believe that there's a whole lot more we can achieve if we can do this in less than 5 months. Watch your space. There's something exciting coming soon. Culture League is going to be done shortly, but we have a feature we're currently developing, and that we announced it with our announcement 168 hours, and we're currently in development for that feature. It's a true life story, so it's something that a lot of people would really enjoy, and we hope that it's done properly, and we know it will be done properly, to be fair. And we just hope that we get the right collaboration, we get the right network to be able to take the story beyond the shores of Africa. But yes, that's one thing I'm excited about. And watch out for 168 hours. Please, no internet. I'll take that. You see, I can't stand traffic. I can't. My lip gloss. I love TikTok. I don't post there, but I love TikTok. Please give me unlimited lights, please. Unlimited lights. At least I can watch. Please leave data. Unlimited light. I need light. My favorite meme. Why are you running? Why are you running? Thank you. Thank you.